When I say two, we go back to original position like this. So let's do it. 1, 2, 1, 2. So that is just your brain and also get you confused a bit. It's about change management. So allow me now to take you through the presentation. I believe I have 30 minutes because I know your farmer spent on time. So it was to be shared here, but it looks like it's not here yet. Oh, thank you. Oops, go on. Okay, as they prepare the sharing, I believe that collaboration is something that we need to make it big in Africa, because we are living in a space where people are telling the African narrative, and sadly enough, it's not people from Africa who are telling the narrative. And we should have a situation whereby we, the Africans, should own our narrative. We should own our narrative because it's our experience. And that's where now even the collaboration needs to come in, because there's that saying that says, you know, if you go alone, you'll go fast. It's true, you'll go very fast if you go alone. However, if you decide to go with people, you go far. And that gives you a big advantage. That one gives you a way big advantage towards that. So thank you. Thank you for loading the presentation. So kindly go to the third slide. I don't know if I have controls for this one. I don't. So let's just move to the third slide from the cover page. See if I can control it from here. No. Let's kindly move to the third slide. That slide, this one. Yes, thank you. Yes. So as we move on, the significance of collaboration and partnership is very evident and becoming a bigger deal nowadays, because in context, each stakeholder holds a specific skill, or they have a particular strength that sets them apart. However, if we need to go far, we need to leverage our strength. We need to have cross-functional teamwork. By cross-functional teamwork, I mean people coming together with different strengths, but they have that collective vision. They have that collective understanding. That collective understanding is very, very crucial, because whenever you're coming together towards doing collaboration, that is now bringing your strengths together and trying to embrace them. First of all, the first thing you need to have is a collective vision. So what is your collective vision? That is very important, because each individual has their vision, but now we have to come together towards a collective vision. And now from that collective vision also comes what we call the collective understanding, which is very crucial. So that collective understanding is what now builds that direction towards where are we going to as a collective, because now you're no longer working as an individual, you're working as a collective. So where are we heading to? And that gives you the direction and the vision on what to do. And that now gives even more exposure towards across the globe. And also it helps you address much bigger challenges, because now you're leveraging on each other's strengths. Okay, as I move on to the next slide, let's look at the power of learning and development. Where does it play part in? So number one, the area that it plays very much is in terms of skill development. L&D is very essential for equipping individuals and communities with the necessary skills that they need and the knowledge that they need to thrive. Because you're living in communities that are always thirsty for knowledge. They're always thirsty for that wisdom. And it has to be that learning has to be continuous. It's not finite. It's something that has to be done on a continuous journey. Secondly is on empowerment. And empowerment it helps empower individuals to improve. Because people may have that particular skill, but that continuous learning helps them improve their skills. It also improves not only their livelihood, but also their way of living. Then also there's innovation. Innovation, that one now is for those who are training organizations, and maybe those are entrepreneur organizations. And at times, someone may have something that is innovative, but they lack that soft skill. And that's why now you're bringing in the L&D elements towards enhancing that, and which also leads to economic growth. So what's the need for partnerships and collaboration, you may ask? So number one is resource mobilization. And this one comes very strongly when we usually call it economies of scale, the power of many. You may be your own individual, yes, that's good. But let's say you're trying to look for the bigger pie, or you're trying to look for the bigger grass, the bigger field of the grass. At times, doing it alone might exhaust you because it might require a lot of resources, a lot of time, and perhaps some skill that is not within your capacity. But however, if you do it in a collaborative approach, someone may be skilled in doing a proposal, another one may be very well skilled in doing a pitch, another one could be skilled in delivering a training. Those are how you complement each other's strengths. Those are synergies that are being built. That's how those synergies come towards the collective goal. Then also the other need for partnership is having a holistic approach. I'd mentioned about challenges. So at times there are those challenges that require a collective approach. And that's where now the collaboration comes in because each person has different capability. My capability may not be the capability that you have, but if we combine them and if we complement it, it takes us much further. Then also we have the knowledge sharing and capacity building. Our collaboration builds much better avenues for skill transfer because you might have the gap of a particular skill, but through that collaboration, you're learning experientially. You're learning through experience. You're learning through observing others. And that one usually comes very much in handy towards growth and also seeking better opportunity within the L&D space. So that helps you give an advantage in terms of technology, the knowledge, and also now trying to do the skill transfer to others. And lastly, we have sustainability. We live in a L&D is a space that requires constant collaboration, not just collaboration, but constant innovation, because things keep changing. The problems that were there in 2020 are no longer there in 2024, 2025. Those organizational problems keep evolving. So even for us who are the L&D professionals also need to evolve with those problems. And that's where now the sustainability comes in. Perhaps you could find somebody who is already stuck with the problems that were there in 2021, which already solved in 2024. Already when it comes to the market, that makes you relevant. But for you to be sustainable, you'd rather work on a collaborative approach whereby you're doing your R&D, that is research and development, trying to find out what are the emerging issues across these organizations. How can you be relevant to address these issues? How do we solve these problems across these issues? And this one is usually best solved through a partnership approach rather than doing it in isolation. Okay, so we'll move on to the other one. We also have the stakeholder approach. So when we come and talk about the stakeholder approach, we're looking at it from across different spectrums. By spectrums, I mean you're looking at different sectors. Because in any economy, you'll find that there's the private sector, there's the government, and there's the civil society. So how do you bring that approach? Because each sector has its own unique capability. What the private sector can do, perhaps the government can't do. Private sector is big on innovation. It's big on technology and investment. Government mostly is in terms of enabling the environment, creating that infrastructure. That's an area which the private sector can manage. And then probably even creating the right legislation that is conducive for the private and civil society. Then the civil society comes in handy whereby because those ones are the people who are usually on the ground. They're the ones who deal with the community engagement. They're the ones who disseminate the knowledge. And this one comes very much in handy, perhaps if you're dealing mostly with NGOs. If you're learning and if you are L&D kind of projects, deal a lot with NGOs, you tend to find ways in which you can partner with them. So for the stakeholder approach, this is now looking at it externally. The one that I touched before was internally within the L&D ecosystem. Now we've moved out of the L&D ecosystem and moved towards now the economic ecosystem, whereby now you have the private sector, the government, and also the civil society. So this is how, as you can see, the private sector brings innovation and technology as well as investment. The government offers the power of policy and infrastructure development. Civil society provides on-the-ground knowledge and community engagement. This one on the community engagement, mostly, I believe that most of you usually do a needs analysis before you deliver your projects or before you do your training. So there are those needs analysis whereby at times you have to engage civil society if it's something that's touching on social development. And that's where now you're trying to be invited. And at times you've seen projects whereby, like, let's say, for example, you have the World Bank or the IFC, which is trying to do a project to a particular community. Let's say it's a project that's touching on entrepreneurship. So what happens is we have World Bank, which perhaps we can call private sector. We also have government. Now government is the, let's say, the environment enabler. And then also we have the civil society. The civil society now is in touch with the target user, or do we say the target beneficiary? Yes, the target beneficiary. The civil society knows the people who need to be trained on entrepreneurship. So you as the L&D professional have been approached by World Bank and you've been told this is how you can train partner towards achieving that. And maybe your key goal is to offer the entrepreneurial training. So that entrepreneurial training cannot just be done on guesswork. And that's where now the stakeholder approach comes in. You might have to approach the civil society, do a research with them, or even do a needs analysis together with them to understand the specific pain points and then the gaps that are needed in the entrepreneurial training. I'm doing this for example basis so that you understand what I'm talking about. Then perhaps you might have to approach the government because there's some trainings where at times you may have to involve some government officials. At times you may need to seek permission or permits to do a particular training. And that's when at times the government comes in. And all that now becomes an ecosystem whereby you have the World Bank, you have you as the trainer or the L&D, you have the government, and you also have the civil society. That already in itself becomes a partnership. Because all that, the collective goal is you're trying to train the community towards entrepreneurship. You're trying to train them on how they can generate income for themselves, how they can generate self-employment. I hope I'm well understood of that. I was using that as an example, perhaps to bring it home. Okay, so as we proceed, here's a collaboration that you can, let's say, here's a collaboration you can imagine about. So this is just, let's call it an example, another example. So imagine this, you have private and public partnership that provides training. Now, this one you're looking in the sector of agribusiness. Let's assume that L&D Africa, let's call it L&D Africa Consortium. So let's say the consortium now is a partnership of all the trainers across Africa. So now we've formed a group, we called ourselves a consortium. So we've been approached already. So the key beneficiaries are those people who are in agribusiness, the smallholder farm. So here it goes. A public-private partnership provides training in sustainable farming practices to rural communities. So here, the civil society organizations help you to mobilize the local farmers, because now already as L&D consortium, we might not be in a position to mobilize the farmers that we need to train. So those are the people who will be the participants in our training. So also the civil society, considering that they're usually on ground and they deal a lot with the community, they understand the cultural sensitivity. And that's another area in training that we also need to look at, because the world has become very diverse, to be honest. And cultures are different. What works in my culture may not work in somebody else's culture. And let me give you a personal example. There's a time we did a virtual meeting. It was a pitch meeting that we were trying to close a very good deal. So it was with an organization that's based in France. And then we also did another one that's based in the Middle East. So already we're in the tail end of closing the deal, because already we did our pitch, we did our proposal, so we are just doing the nitty-gritty. So towards the end of our video call, we did something that was very innocent. So we said, thank you for your time. We appreciate, and we did this, which to some people means, okay, so this one, for us, it was innocent because we knew, okay, yeah, good, see you soon. But now the problem was that later on, the prospects from the Middle East didn't reach back to us. And we wondered what happened. So we did some scoping and some investigation, and we later came to realize that what messed us up was our body language. And imagine the body language that messed us up that time because of culture was this. So to this might mean okay, but to some others, it means vulgar, because it means excuse my language, but it means a butthole. So to some other cultures, this is very offensive. And that's how we ended up losing the deal. And that's where I'm coming in terms of being culturally sensitive, understanding the culture. So also, that's coming back to this example, civil society somehow, let's say for our case in point that we are training the farmers, understands their community. They know the kind of culture they engage in and everything. So they'll give us the knowledge through that partnership that you're doing with them. They'll give us that knowledge in terms of knowing how to handle these people, how to ensure that we align to their culture, how to ensure that nothing vulgar comes out. And that's where now the civil society comes in. That's called a cultural sensitivity. And also community buy-in, trying to convince the community on the benefit of what you're training as L&D consortium, right? So the key goal towards this, and here is where now the collective vision comes in as L&D consortium, assuming that you've all partnered together in this collaboration, is to ensure that the farmers, small-scale farmers in this case, have the new skills that boost their agricultural productivity and also contributes to environmental sustainability. Again, from the top, I'm saying this, for example, basic. We have L&D consortium approached by already a development organization. So during that consortium, as we're doing our delivery, we partnered with the civil society organizations that engage with those communities that we want to train. So their role in that partnership is trying to convince the communities that this is our training program, this is how it's going to go, and these are the people delivering it. They're trying to build that buy-in of our training program. And also for them towards us, they're trying to give us more info in terms of how is this community like, how should they be addressed, what are the cultural sensitivities that should be on the lookout for. So that's the kind of example I was trying to bring out in terms of showing our collaboration. Because you're looking collaboration, what collaboration does is that it brings long-term sustainability, it brings relevance even to the practitioner, towards your business, and also it helps you go far because now you can do much through a partnership as compared to doing it alone. And also now there's what we call knowledge sharing, skill transfer, and also more acquisition of knowledge. Because wherever people are gathered with their diverse knowledge, we learn from each other. It's usually what we call peer learning. All right. Then moving on, the benefits of partnership and collaboration. So one of them is having diverse viewpoints. I mentioned about how diversity comes in when it comes to collaboration. So diverse viewpoints, they usually help let's say, from different sectors. They usually bring good solutions and groundbreaking approaches. Because at times, you've been in a situation whereby you've partnered with somebody and they've thought of something that you would never think about. And it gives you a light bulb moment. That's how partnership comes in. So those diverse viewpoints. Now that's the space of partnership, because it's very important towards developing new skill development programs. That partnership can give birth to programs that you would never think about, programs that are relevant, programs that are well thought out. And also, those partnerships also help you find ways on how you can utilize technology. Perhaps within that partnership, the individuals who are very skilled and tech savvy. And so they can see how can we leverage on technology to deliver this to remote teams. The teams that are usually remote. And how can you deliver this in a way that someone can even learn as an individual on their own pace without having to block some time that at times can't be adjusted. But now that technology comes in handy. The other key benefit of this partnership and collaboration when it comes to L&D is you co-design training programs. Co-designing those training programs. Let's say it's a training program that you're trying to co-design with educational institutions, let's say universities. Perhaps you're trying to build a curriculum or trying to build a program that wants to be skilled through universities. So partnering with universities brings that advantage, because now the universities also have their individuals who know how to do the curriculum. You have the skill. You know what kind of content can be. You have the advantage of the market-driven advantage. You understand what the market needs because you're already out there. The institution itself might not understand what the market wants. Now that's advantage because you bring a course that is market-driven. The university finds a way in which it constructs it within their curriculum that is palatable to their students, and everybody wins. So it becomes a win-win situation. So the long and short of all this is this partnerships help develop what we call market-driven learning. And that's where now the relevance comes in, because it's something that's needed by the market. It's not something that is Asian. No, it's something that is relevant, it's on point, and it's very much needed. On the last benefit of partnership, I would say collaboration also fosters deep consideration in terms of the needs of the learner. And that's where now the needs analysis comes in. Because now through collaboration, you do a deeper needs analysis. It's not on the surface level, but now you go deeper and get to understand what are the specific, in our terms, we usually call them pain points. Because if you're approaching it from a business standpoint, every client has a pain that needs to be relieved. So it's you to understand which pain is that client going through, which specific pain can I solve, and that's what sets you apart. And that's also what sets the partnership apart, because the needs analysis goes deeper, it goes broader, it becomes more comprehensive, and that even translates to more relevant programs, because now those are programs that speak to the needs of your learners. Okay. And then also, I would say collaboration in some way, in a way, I know it brings in the element of group dynamics, and with group dynamics, you have conflict. So you need to approach collaboration with an open mind, understanding that conflicts might be there. Maybe our visions may not align. Maybe our goals don't align at all. I might find your goal too ambitious compared to what my company wants. But trying to have that, how do you call it, that middle ground is very important. Finding ways in which at times you might find yourself having to compromise. At times you might have to realign some values, because now you are having that group dynamic. And at times it doesn't even have to be a large group. Collaboration can also be like, for example, even in our case as a debt advisory, we utilize a lot on partnerships and collaboration in the areas of, let's say we are doing a leadership team building or leadership training for board members. So at times you find that such requires somebody who's in that field for over 20 years. As the founders, you've never been that long in that field. So that gives you an opportunity to collaborate with a leader in that area. And we just approach it can be a partnership of two, it can be a partnership of just 2 organizations. It doesn't have to be 10 organizations or 20. And it's just a matter of understanding your JDs, what are your deliverables as partners? What should I deliver? What should you deliver? What's our common goal? As long as whatever you're delivering matches up to the common goal, to the common understanding. Because for it to flow very well, there needs to be that shared understanding, there has to be that shared goal or shared vision. So even in your own personal capacity, there are times when perhaps a prospective client can approach you with the projects that might sound like a tall order. Perhaps because you look within your capacity and you feel that you can't deliver, but you should see that as an opportunity, not even as a problem. Okay, not even as, you shouldn't see that as a mistake, or you shouldn't see that as a mistake, as a problem, but you should see that as an opportunity, because that's an opportunity for you to seek somebody who is skilled in that space. And at times it requires a lot of humility, because at times it can be a clash of egos. You're skilled in this area, this person is skilled in that area. So it's a clash of skills, but that level ground needs to be there. That's empathy. You need to have that level of empathy of, number one, having your self-awareness, understanding what can trigger you, what can be done within your capacity, and also having understanding of your core person. What can they deliver? What are their weaknesses? Do you just attack that person in their weaknesses, or do you get consistent? What can you do to improve in the weaknesses? How can you learn? How can you improve? Organizations. No, it's a partnership that's where 2 or more gather towards a common goal. That's where now the collaboration drives. Ensure that whatever happens, again, I'll keep reiterating, ensure that there's that collective value, that collective goal. because that collectivity is what pushes you ahead. And the major challenge that we face in here L&D Africa is because across, if you look at across most practitioners who are in L&D, is we work a lot in isolation. At times you might say that is not my area, I can't touch it. Or at times if you find an opportunity which perhaps you can bring to somebody in a collaborative approach, at times you say I would rather not even share it. But as we can change, you can flip that script ourselves, because you're bringing in a new age kind of partnership and collaboration. Because now we need to look at the win-win situation, not the win-lose, but the win-win. That's something that you need to put in mind. All right. So as I move to methodology, so the methodology is in terms of now look at collaboration as a journey. I can't say that it's just a single action. It's not a plug and play kind of thing. You don't just wake up and say, let's partner, let's do this, let's finish. It's a journey, because you need to understand. It feels like a marriage. You don't just wake up and do a marriage immediately. You have to court that person. You need to understand their background. You need to meet their family. You need to understand what are their ambitions. Do they align with what you want? Does that person have the potential to give birth to beautiful children? And it somehow feels like you are approaching a marriage. So this methodology is where it comes in, because a partnership is a journey, it's a process, and that process has its own steps. And so one key step is in terms of identifying the key stakeholder. Perhaps you have your target clients that you want to meet. Perhaps you want to introduce a new program in leadership, perhaps in change management, but you're looking within. Because first of all, you look within and see, I don't have that capacity 100%. I only have 30% of that capacity. But in order for me to make it even 100%, I need to partner with someone. So that's how now you identify the key stakeholder. So the key stakeholders identified, now that is on the basis of what can you offer, what can they offer. So you look in terms of the development gaps, the infrastructure, perhaps also there's a resource gap. At times you might feel you don't have the necessary resources to approach a particular project. So at times you try and scout the stakeholder who can bring in those resources, and that's where now the description was telling you the duties come in, the duty of each partner. The other methodology approach, the other step is now creating a forum for dialogue. So dialogue now is where you're coming now to the negotiation table, trying to understand each other, trying to know what is partner A bringing to the table, what is partner B bringing to the table. So that also comes in with the element of knowledge sharing and also partnership building. And along the process that somehow builds, it's also a process of trust building. Slowly by slowly. Okay. Sorry for that background noise. Those are people passing. Okay. Then the other one is identifying the key gaps, the key skill gaps, and also the training requirement. That is for effective collaboration and implementation. So what are the skill gaps within your own capacity? Let's say perhaps you're specialized in doing entrepreneurial training, or perhaps you only focus on personnel management. But now if somebody comes and tells you we need a trainer for sales training, you realize it's not within your scope. But however, that's a gap already. Already that's a gap, and as I mentioned before, that's an opportunity. So within that network, we already have this L&D network Africa within itself. You try and scope within the network. Who can I approach that can come and fill this gap? And we can do it together. Then also we need to and that is usually based on a needs assessment. And that's where now you've already done your needs assessment internally. You've done it internally and you're trying to show how can we do it? How can that be done? So within that needs assessment, that's where you identify the gaps and everything else. And also within those needs assessment, perhaps you also identify the key sectors that you want to target. Because within your target market, every client is within a particular sector. There's those people who offer training just for clients in the manufacturing sector. So perhaps now you want to explore the health sector. So perhaps you need somebody who is well skilled in training skills or soft skills in the health sector. And now you are trying to look for a stakeholder that you can partner with. So needs assessment is very, very key. And then now you also need to understand and also assess the impact of that collaboration. So that assessment of impact now comes in terms of whenever you've done your delivery with your collaborator or with your partner, it's important now to come and do a post-event analysis. Then understand once you've done the training, after post-training analysis, what gaps have not been met through that training. Within that collaboration, how can we address those gaps in the future trainings that you're going to be given? Okay. And then also it strengthens partner organization because now your company somehow becomes a consortium. Once you come together, it even helps you bid for bigger projects. Because there are projects that at times can be quite big in terms of paperwork and even the commitments, and also considering that at times it could be LPO. So at times even financing that LPO could be a challenge. But now it can become much more smoother if you do the collaboration, because collaboration somehow smoothens the process of progress making, of success, and also sustainability. Right? So about to conclude. As I conclude, as I'm also almost getting to conclusion, I say partnership is everything you do. You just walk into a supermarket and tell a girl to marry you. You take time to get to understand that person. That's why you're trying to identify the key areas. You're doing a needs assessment. You're trying to take time, coach that person to see, is this person a proper fit for my collaboration? Or can they align? Is there areas that you can align with? So it's not an event, but it's a process. And it's a process of trust building. It's a process of relationship building. And also, since it's learning and development, it's a process of knowledge sharing. And it's a process of knowledge sharing whereby we should not hide our knowledge. We should not preserve that knowledge and say, no, this is just within me. There's no harm in sharing that because that's how you do skill transfer. Because now sharing is also caring. Because whatever you share, you take on and share what they have to get. That's very important. Thank you very much. And as I conclude, I would say perhaps if there's nothing that you've understood in this presentation, I want you to understand one thing here. And I'll give you from an African context. I understand, I'm sure you're very conversant with the baobab tree. In Africa, the baobab tree is considered the tree of life. You can see how beautiful that tree is. It's a tree that is very common in the African savanna. And it's a tree, even when you look at the African savanna, it's a tree where most animals like to get shade because it provides proper shade. However, view this. The baobab tree is not strong and it's not that strong. It can't say that it gets its strength from only one branch. It can't say that I'm very strong because of this branch. No, it's strong because of many branches. And those are branches that have grown outwards and sideways. So in our context, I need you to view those branches as different stakeholders. Those are the branches that are coming in towards building that baobab tree. So those are different stakeholders with different skills. Someone has skills in communication training. Someone else has skills in leadership. Another one has skills in sales management. All those are skills that are coming together amongst those branches that have been attached to that stem. Then we have that tree that is strong because it also has those deep roots. It has the deep roots which are intertwined. So those deep roots that's our shared foundation as a partnership. So that's the foundation, the shared vision that we've decided to come up with. And that is now our foundation that is holding our branches and our stems strong. And now the animals that you're seeing that are taking shade underneath that baobab tree are the people who are benefiting from that collaboration. Our target audience, our target learners. They are enjoying the shade because the tree has embraced diversity. and I'm welcoming any questions and answers. I hope I've not taken much of your time. Over to you, Dr. Patrick.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Charles, for the insightful presentation. I have enjoyed it so much. I mean, especially with your last example that you gave on the baobab tree. It's just an indication that we are all important, and then at a point we all need to collaborate and to be able to together. I think I noted few points from you, so thank you so much for your presentation. I noted few points from you. Looking at the topic, the role of collaboration in sustainable development that we are discussing, I noted that you spoke on the partnership side, where you indicated that partnerships are essential for addressing challenges and achieving goals, especially in the regions like us, Africa. You also touched on the importance of development. You spoke on the fact that the collaboration empowers individuals to improve our livelihood, and it helps us to participate in society. It drives innovation, entrepreneurship, economic growth. You also spoke on the need for, you mentioned the fact that why do we have to partner? And then we need to partner because of resource mobilization. You also touch on the knowledge sharing, sustainability, and then the fact that we have a way of creating holistic situation. And you also touch on the stakeholders, the private sector, the government, the civil service. And then last but not the least, which is so important, that when we collaborate, there's a diverse perspective that will lead to a creative and effective L&D solutions. And then we also co-design programs addressing skills gap and market demand. And then it's more or less also create a learner-centered initiative that aligns with real-world needs. Thank you so much, Charles, for this insightful presentation. And ladies and gentlemen, at this point, it's time for us to ask questions. So we are ready for the questions. So it starts now. Anybody with a question for our speaker and for all of us to deliberate? Thank you. Okay, so let's see. I'm seeing a question in the chat room. Yes, I have a signal from Stanley from Ghana, L&D Secretariat. Stanley, please go ahead with your question.
Okay, yeah. Charles, so there's a question, and the question is asking, how do you see the future of L&D collaboration in Africa evolving, especially with the rise of digital platforms, and how Africa can prepare for this shift? So this is something we want to know, and if you can share your insights. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Stanley,
for that.
Yeah. So, Charles, please go ahead.
Okay. Sorry about that, Dr. Patrick. Yes, good question, Stanley. It's true. There's a digital revolution taking place, and it has not even spared learning and development. That's a fact. And it reached a point whereby it's if you're not embracing that digital transformation, somehow you slowly become a dinosaur. And I've seen this from observation. There's been a huge upsurge of self-paced programs. Self-paced programs in the sense of, you find that there's a program that's teaching you on team management. But it's a program that you can do at the comfort of your time whenever you want to do it. You don't have to, the conventional kind of trainings are whereby it's on a particular day at a particular time. People are quite busy at times and they might not have that time to sign up for that course. However, people now have curated courses whereby it's pre-recorded on video, and then it's usually shared by a link. Now, the third part of that observation that I saw is we don't have African trainers on those videos. It's very sad, to be honest. I would challenge you to go and look at LinkedIn Learning. LinkedIn Learning has so many learning videos from many skills professionals. And the worst part is I've not seen an African do a video on any topic, to be honest. And again, I can't say that is a problem, but it's an opportunity for us. It's an opportunity for us to take advantage of. And remember when I said we need to own our narrative. We need to curate things that are African, that apply to the context of our African market. Because at yes, the videos are good, but the problem is you find the examples that are being given are not relatable to the African environment. And that's where we started. That's where we have the advantage ourselves as the trainers, whereby we can do our own pre-recorded videos, put them on a platform, and you charge them at a fee. Somebody can easily sign up at the comfort of their house, whether they're working remotely or even in the office. And that's how the evolution has come in. So to answer your question, yes, the digital revolution is coming in, and having seen the future of L&D in Africa is we need to be open-minded towards embracing doing self-paced courses. How can we provide? How can we provide a course that is self-paced? A course that, let's say, for example, Dr. Patrick is training on communication. What kind of video can he be put on a platform, and I, Charles, I can listen to it at my own pace. Maybe it's a course that takes 3 weeks, but I can find a way in which I can space out my 3 weeks comfortably without having to physically attend a class, or without having to block my calendar, attend a specific thing. Nowadays, that is what is selling. Even when you approach most organizations that are trying to push L&D within internally, they're looking for those self-paced kind of training, whereby now they can easily push it to a department. Marketing department, where your courses for marketing, you figure out when you learn them, but they've already been bought. So that's business for us. Again, go and look at LinkedIn Learning. You'll understand what I'm saying. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charles.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Charles. I have a question in the chat box, and then it reads the question actually came from Jose Ahaji, located in Ghana, Accra. And the question is, how can fostering collaboration in learning and development initiatives enhance employee engagement and drive organizational success? How can the collaboration with respect to the L&D space and the initiatives enhance employee engagement? So please go ahead. We are ready.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Patrick. So in terms of employee engagement and organizational success, those two go hand in hand. So in terms of employee engagement, I would say one area that is very dear to my heart, needs assessment. And there are organizations that are facing so many underlying issues that even the leadership doesn't know about. But that can be addressed through a survey. It can be addressed through a needs analysis. And this is how you can easily pitch to a client. It's something that I tried and it's working. We at times we may sell a product that our client may not want. Let's say you're trying to teach on something team cohesion. Let's say team cohesion. Okay. So you can approach your prospective and say, you know what, allow us to do a free survey to your team, and then we'll give you a report. That is a form of employee engagement, because the survey already is being shared to the employees of that organization that you want to do business with. So that survey helps you now narrow down to the pain points that are touching on team cohesion. We've done a couple of surveys as an organization ourselves for other organizations. And the HR managers or even the team leaders tend to get shocked to realize that there are many pain points that they're not aware about. Because, you know, in organizations at times, not all employees will communicate to their leaders. But they might be a bit more open towards a third party who is giving them a confidential survey, as long as you keep it confidential. And then as long as you ensure that data is safe. Because it has to be in a way that somebody is not, but if there are questions that are open and there are questions that lead to leading to in the element of the
Hello, Charles. I think I'm missing you. We are missing you.
Oh, okay. Am I clear now?
Yes, it's better now.
Oh, sorry for that. So
Can you
I was okay. Let me repeat. So I was saying how you can achieve employee engagement is through surveys, and those surveys is they usually help you identify the key pain points in which you can solve. As I was saying, an example could be perhaps you want to offer training that is looking in terms of team cohesion or maybe change management. So whenever you're approaching your prospective client, you can say that we'll give you a free survey that will help you in understanding what needs to be addressed. So that survey engages the employees because now they're giving feedback. You know, part of that survey is a form of communication because it involves feedback. So through that feedback is how you generate your report and also say, look, these are the gaps that are there, and that has been achieved through employee engagement, which most team leaders can't achieve because perhaps you might find that the employees are afraid of their leaders or they might not be that candid because they're afraid of victimization. However, the survey offers a form of confidential feedback that can be generated in a report. And that's how now you can achieve employee engagement, which now through the training and through now the skill transfer, you achieve the organizational success.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Charles. All right, George Abraham's hand is up. Hello, George. Thank you for coming.
Hi.
Yes.
Okay. Can
Thank
you
you for
see
coming.
me?
Please go ahead with your question.
Okay. All right. Mine is a bit of a question and also a contribution. So I've attended a number of your events before. I am actually listening to you from United Kingdom.
Great.
Okay. Right.
Thank you.
So, but I'm giving this perspective, which you guys are maybe not be aware. I was born in Africa and I do a lot of work in Africa. Okay. So the key thing is here is I know of many groups of people who are doing a lot of learning development programs that can be utilized by people like yourself, that can be engaged by connecting to them. And because there are so many things happening in this world of ours around us, we are not aware of it. So maybe, if you give me an email, I can then start populating and giving you some links to people that are in Africa who are doing different things in different subject areas, which might be very, very useful to support your work.
Wow. George, we are sending you a virtual club. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
So, because where are you based? Are you in Ghana?
Yes, in Ghana.
Okay,
And
because I'm actually going to be coming to Ghana very soon because a Ghanaian friend of mine just contacted me after a long time and he said, he wants skill development training, that the government has got 50 centers and they want skill development training in plumbing, electrical works and other kinds of things. And I said, fine, please give me more detail of what it is, and then I will be able to help you. No problem.
Right. Thank you very much, George. The team
Okay.
has already picked your details, and then we'll send you a mail from here.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Great. Thank you. All right. So, for sake of time, can we have our last question? Okay. So, Carol has put in the chat box, said, "Hi, George. Could you share some links in chats now or names of key websites? Useful information. Thank you." All right. So, George.
Yes, I'll respond to you here. What I'm going to do is I will put my email in the chat. If one of you send me, I will reply with a number of links of people that you could connect to who are already in Africa, who do different things. And then that way, they can then connect with you directly and try to find out what gaps are. Because I can see that a lot of the things in the L&D, one thing which I'm assuming here is there will be different subject areas that you're covering in L&D. There'll be people coming from agriculture sector, there'll be people from automotive. So the question needs to be clarified is what are the gaps of where you need learning, and who are the connected points that you need to reach to, so that people can then point you to say, okay, if you're talking about this subject area, these are the people that you should be talking to, and who you should reach out to, who are looking to work with people like yourself.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm just going to type my email here, which I hope you'll see in the question and answer. I'll give you my email.
All right. Thank you very much, George.
You're welcome.
Really, thank you. All right. So at this point, I have the similar honor to ask Charles to give us his parting words, maybe in 1 to 2 minutes. Just what do you have for us as we let you go?
All right. I would say this is my parting shot. Perhaps, again, I would say partnership is the way to go. That's number one. And number two is that we have a lot of opportunities to share our collaborative narrative as African practitioners, and it's a challenge upon us. Again, when I mentioned that when you look at platforms like LinkedIn Learning, we don't have our own homegrown trainers who are sharing videos there. It's an opportunity, and it's a tall order. It's also a calling for us to find a way in which you can build our own platform and also share that kind of knowledge or skill development courses that can relate with our context, our African context, and our African skill gaps. Yes. And lastly, always view partnership as a marriage, not an event. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Charles. Really, really appreciate it. So at this point, we have come to the end, but before we end, I will let Caroline Imwazi, who is the conference chair, L&D African conference chair in Nairobi, Kenya, to give us her parting words. So Caroline, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready, and it's very good to see all of you. Thank you, Dr. Patrick, for that marvelous hosting. And Charles, I knew you would not disappoint, and you certainly have not. Very, very deep discussion there, almost making me want to repent of the times when I've not really collaborated or collaborated well. Really, I think there's a lot more opportunity when we collaborate. And what I'm taking away, Charles, is that image of the tree. And what particularly touched me is the people who benefit from that tree at the end of the day. All the people who actually benefit from the collaboration. So just warm thanks to you, warm thanks to everyone who has joined, because really these are discussions that we have, and we always appreciate when you join. So before I hand it back to Dr. Patrick Bakwa, is just to say all roads lead to Nairobi, Kenya in October this year, 15th to the 17th of October is when we'll be having our second Kenyan L&D Africa conference, and you want to come. You don't want to miss it. Last year's was great. We want to make this one even greater. So it will be bigger. Instead of 2 days, we'll be having 3 days. And we want also to have many more people joining us in person or virtually, but we highly encourage you come to Nairobi, Kenya, so that we can see you, meet you, engage with you in the breaks, and really have some deep conversations all on L&D Africa and just enhancing the way we work as L&D practitioners, and of course, the way we can collaborate as well. So thank you everyone for joining, and back to you, Dr. Patrick. Thank you.
Great, Caroline. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was powerful. In fact, I'm excited that you are going to be the conference chair as we prepare to join you in Nairobi, Kenya. Thank you very much. So everything that has a beginning has an end, and we have finally come to the end of this wonderful webinar. And so to end, I would want to indicate that if you want to contact us, L&D Africa Conference Secretariat, you can reach us on our email, info@lndafrica.org. And then also in terms of telephone, you can reach us +2 33 244 45 1519 or +2 54 741 852054. You reach us as being shared on the screen. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Our social media handles, you can reach us on LinkedIn at L&D Africa Conference, and then on Facebook at L&D Africa Conference, and then on X, you can also reach us on L&D Africa Conference, and then let's move. Okay. And then also you can join us on our WhatsApp platform, L&D Grow with L&D Professional across Africa. You chat with us on whatsapp.com/JOOH2U. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. We really appreciate your time. Thank you. So we have finally come to the end of the webinar. Thank you. Hope to see you, hope to hear from you next time. I wish you all the best. Have a great day across Africa, across the globe, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Whenever I'm lonely, you're there for my soul. Wherever you are, girl, that's where I call my own. Whenever you doubt it, I'll be letting you know. I want to be dancing with you forever. You see through the storm and take me as I am. Baby, it's magic anytime that we're together. I make I just love you and hold you for my hand. Hold you for my hand. Hold you for my hand. Hold you for my hand.